Get your stinking rat out. It's late night large.
Welcome to the show that can't be bothered to spend 15 minutes doing the washing up, but will spend 4 hours shrink wrapping your car to make you late for work tomorrow. High and wide in the driving seat is me, Aaron Bliss, and fast asleep in the boot is Mike Large.
All
right. Wake up.
Mike.
Well, why indeed. Welcome back to Lockdown Large again. There's not too much interesting going on, but we're into September, so Parliament has reconvened, so things are happening in the world of COVID. We're going to briefly touch on all of those because that's obviously why Lockdown Large exists. So I don't imagine we'll be debating for too long tonight, Mike, but there's been one or two things that have raised their heads. So the health secretary, so the big one is the health secretary in an interview, was it the weekend or yesterday? Sajid Javid said basically that vaccine passports were not going to happen. And he said when he was stating that, he said that he had never been a fan of papers, please, like showing people having to show their papers to do everyday things. Now, of course, let's just mention that the guy is a stone cold fucking hypocrite because he's literally voted for a law that they're trying to pass to make people have to show photo ID to vote. So, you know, looking ahead, fucking shut up with your I don't agree with the papers, please thing. You fucking do agree with it if it's about making sure that your party can rig the vote. What you mean is your party discussed vaccine passports, saw how unpopular they were, then doubled down on it because you realized that you could actually get some positivity if you came out later and said, no, we're going to scrap vaccine passports, and people would think, oh, that's a brave thing to do. I'm glad the government did that. I approve of that, even though they created the problem in the beginning. And anyone who's been keeping an eye on this shit show of a government will know that's literally their only tactic, is announce something or create a problem that's really, really pissing people off, and then ride to the rescue and say, oh, we're going to end this now. We're the party who gets things done, as if no one can see that they created the problem in the first place. What do you think about that announcement? Both the, do you agree that it's a good idea to scrap the vaccine passport thing, and also how much of a massive hypocrite Javid and the rest of the government are?
Well, yeah, look, do I think it's a good idea? Yes, but like you said, I'm not about to heap a load of praise onto them for it, or do you know what I mean? Give them a little pat on the back and rub their tummies. Oh, good boy. Look, no, not, that's, I mean, no. I don't know. That'd be like that. I don't know. That'd be like you coming round here and defecating on the floor, and then cleaning it up, and then me like heaping a load of praise on you for cleaning it up. Don't fucking do it in the first place. But is it a good idea to scrap it? I think probably yes. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. No, neither do they. In fairness, nobody does.
Well, we discussed
We have spoken about them before, though. Haven't we?
Yeah. I was going to say we discussed the reason why it was seemingly such a ridiculous idea, because don't get me wrong, I understand that the idea of vaccine passports was trying to solve a riddle that was difficult to solve, which is how do you discourage people from being irresponsible in terms of not being vaccinated and then going into crowds of people potentially infecting them. Yeah. But we discussed it, didn't we, that if you're not going to introduce vaccine passports the instant that you open nightclubs, then don't bother at all. There's just no point.
Yeah.
So
potentially they're just saving us all a load of hassle and bullshit. So yeah, you know, look, I'm not saying I'm in favour of just having a balls to the walls attitude and fuck it, don't care anymore. Um, not saying that at all, but yes, I think it's probably a good idea to not go ahead with them. But am I going to be quick to heap a load of praise on them for coming to that conclusion? Absolutely not. And I would, like you said, I would discourage anyone from doing so. You know, just wake up a bit, realise that actually they don't deserve praise for solving their own problems, or realising an idea they had was not great.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is, this is the inevitable result of effectively 40 years of Thatcherism. Is, without going into a massive essay, almost all the problems we have now has been caused by the ideology of Thatcherism. And because the party is still so obsessed with it and will never let it go, they had to figure out a way to continually get voted for and stay in power while not actually changing anything about the damage that Thatcherism was doing. And this is what they've come to. There's two aspects to it, which is, number one is the culture war, to keep everyone fighting amongst themselves. Oh, this person is trying to shut me down because I said something racist, just because I want to restrict immigration, and this person wants to cancel me because I use the wrong pronoun. So they use that to keep everyone fighting amongst themselves. And the other method that they do, the only other method, is they deliberately cause a problem themselves. There's loads of other examples, particularly related to COVID. Underfund the NHS for 10 years, scrap the preparedness for pandemic response, have an appalling pandemic, and then throw loads of money at a vaccine and say, oh, look, we rescued you from the pandemic. Even though the pandemic hit us so hard, specifically because of the actions of the party in government. So yeah, that's what they just continually do. They get elected on a bunch of lies. They cause massive problems and really piss people off for the first couple of years. Then they start solving specifically those issues that they piss people off with. And then they bribe people a little bit as well, just before the election. Jobs are good and they're back in power again. And their mates are looting the treasury again. Speaking of looting the treasury, Mike, this is related to COVID really, because the excuse is that it's the national insurance hike, because it's apparently partially to repair the NHS from COVID, which is the excuse that Johnson gave.
Now, well, this is the problem, isn't it? They've got that in their locker.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because of COVID, guys, or we need to because COVID. And just think like, well, nobody can question it because, yeah, COVID was bad. Well, you don't think we need to do this? Do you not think COVID was bad? It's just too easy. It's just too easy to.
But you see what I mean? Now. It's another example that, like you say, very well put. They've got it. It's the card in their top. It's in their top pocket. They'll pull it out whenever they can. HGV driver shortage because of leaving the customs union single market. No, that's just COVID problems. Yeah, I mean, it's affected everyone, COVID. So this is why things are so bad. So you're right. Yeah, that's the other trump card, and it's pretty sickening because you think about most governments would treat COVID as this terrible thing that you should do everything you can to get your people through it as unscathed as possible, and try and rebuild in the wake of it. And in reality, the Conservative government's eyes have just lit up at COVID. This is cover for everything now. Oh, we've massively, we're at debt 100% of GDP. Oh, well, we were spending money on COVID, weren't we? Oh, the NHS in ruins. Well, COVID's hit it so hard. Food shortages, we're still getting over COVID, aren't we? Now, let's face it, we're still going to be hearing about COVID in 2 or 3 years' time when the vast majority of the population is vaccinated, and you would hope that the majority of the world is vaccinated. We'll still be hearing about it because what they'll say is not that we're dealing with COVID now, but, oh, it's the after effects of COVID. We're still getting over them. That will be the excuse for everything. Trust me, it will. So yeah. I take it you're not happy, Mike. You're paying more in national insurance.
No, no, absolutely not. You know, I mean, look, tax, national insurance. We all understand why we pay it. Okay. I mean, everyone hates the fucking tax man anyway, but they get it. You know, national insurance is the same, similar. It's the same thing, really, right? So, but we're not talking about little. We're not talking about a little bit more, are we? Like, it's significant amount,
a 10% hike, I think.
It's a fucking joke, and I just, you know, and it's to help the NHS. They love that. They love that, don't they? They love having that. Again, it's a trump card, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, you know, well, do you not support the NHS? Yes, we fucking do. Yes, we have them to thank for the position we're in now, because it could be a lot fucking worse. No thanks to you, dickheads. You know, yes, support the fucking NHS, of course, but stop just fucking using them as an excuse for your bullshit. It winds me up, you know, and yeah, what I guess we're going to come up anyway, but you know, you mentioned Brexit, the effect that that's had on various things. It certainly would have at least exacerbated issues, but actually probably more to blame for a lot of them than they're willing to obviously tell us. But you know, anyone that thinks it hasn't exacerbated any issues, or a lot of these issues, certainly things that like the driver shortage, etc., are just naive and frankly not worth listening to. But I just think, well, look, wasn't one of the big deals about, you know, all this money, 350 million, wasn't it? 350 million a week that we wouldn't have to give those fucking European fucks of our fucking money, right? We're going to give all that money to the NHS. 350 million a week for the NHS that we're not giving fucking Europe. It does nothing for us. Wankers. All to the NHS now. We can look at all the money we can give to the NHS. Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, fucking love the NHS. Yeah, England. Now listen. I know that we've had a global pandemic, right? I know money is probably having to be pulled left, right, centre to plug gaps, to do things, to you know, and anyone, no matter who's in fucking power, no matter what, that would have had to happen. There's no, I'm not kind of taking away the effect of COVID from, you know, the various strains on different finances and the way that we need to get them, how things have been done or will have had to be done or will have to be done going forward. You know, yeah, okay, yeah, COVID happened. Yes, NHS need help, etc. Have done for fucking years, by the way. But okay, but you telling me that, you know, when we get back to normal, then is this hike going to be a temporary measure?
I doubt it.
On national, is that going to be a temporary?
They'll hope we forget about it.
Yeah, is going to be a temporary hike, because at some point we will have to be, we will have to be in a, whether it's a new normal or not, normal state post-COVID.
You know what they'll do? I know exactly what I can see it now. I can see exactly what they're going to do. It will stay in place until 3 months before the next election.
Then they'll get rid of it.
And then they'll
solving their own problems again.
Yeah. honestly, it's very cynical, but I can see exactly that happening. And also, isn't there a bitter irony, Mike, that the NHS workers who've sacrificed so much, they've ended up getting, what is it, fucking pitiful 2.1% or whatever it was pay rise. That's now been swallowed up because they're paying extra national insurance. So the NHS that we care about and we're trying to save, we're asking the workers within it to pay for all of that. These heroes that we've been clapping for. It's just, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not, just to prove that I'm not in any way biased or an I'm all right Jack, I've just had a notification. I've had a bigger pay rise than NHS workers. Now, do I think I deserve that pay rise? Yes, but I don't deserve a higher pay rise than NHS workers. That's what I'm saying. It's not a huge pay rise, but it's bigger than NHS workers. And that's a joke. That's an absolute joke.
On the other side, I didn't get one at all.
And yet, by the way, you're obviously retail is not nearly as important as the NHS, but as has been proven, it is a pretty essential thing. So again, why are retail workers not getting pay rises? I'm sure the fucking chief executives are.
The effects of COVID or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, the effects of COVID. What, record sales? Everyone's stuck at home.
Well, look, we won't go into the ins and outs of each individual business, obviously.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
But
okay. Anyway, I think we've rattled on enough about that. And what an absolute shit show again that is. Boris Johnson with, I mean, the thing is, we're saying that Boris Johnson lies. Anyone who's listened to, anyone who's got fucking half a brain, do we really need to tell you that he lies with every fucking breath he takes? You idiots who, you know who you are, you put him in power, you fucking defend him. You tell us why this clown is still in charge, lying through his teeth to you now, the people who voted for him, people who trusted him, people who believe that bullshit about £350 million a week, even when everyone says it was lies, you'd be like, no, I trust Boris. No, I know he believes in Brexit. He's going to do us good. Yeah, well, where are you now? Fucking defend him now. Mike, they had some word in the newspaper today. Again, not news. Boris Johnson doesn't want to do any more lockdowns because obviously the data's not great. Luckily, deaths hasn't exploded quite as much as we thought it might, but it's still not looking particularly good for deaths. Hospitalizations is still not great. You would have hoped we'd be a lot lower levels than this, particularly going into the autumn. So a lot of people are saying, yeah, looks like October lockdown again then. Apparently Boris Johnson, as we already knew, because he didn't want to do lockdown when he actually did it, said, no, he's not going to do any more lockdowns. He said what he'll do instead is look for more booster shots and mask mandates. And when I read mask mandates, I don't know about you, but I was just pissing myself laughing. This is the bell end that, against all medical advice, and obviously we pulled up at the time. Why is he saying that people shouldn't have to wear masks anymore in shared indoor settings? But no, yeah, we're going to remove all the restrictions. And then
how can you with a straight face use that going forward as something, use that particular mask mandate when you've already said it doesn't matter anymore? Why does it? How does it all of a sudden?
They think people are stupid. They really think people are stupid. And don't get me wrong, most of the people who vote for Boris Johnson probably are. But the rest of us, that's insulting our intelligence. You've just told people, don't worry, folks, we can cope now. Enough people have been vaccinated. We don't even need to wear masks anymore. Okay, maybe public transport, but that's it. Don't worry about it. And to then turn around maybe in October or whatever, going, okay, folks, we're all going to have to wear masks indoors again. Who looks at that and doesn't go, what? What are you talking about? How many times does he have to piss in their face before people wake up and realise they're being absolutely mugged off?
What do you think about these booster shots?
Well, I was going to tie it to another story, Mike, which is that the EU and the UK are being pressured again to remove, like, to instigate vaccine waiver patents, because I think again that is what's really slowing down the vaccination in other parts of the world, is the fact that they have to basically buy the patents or order the drug specifically from specific vaccine providers. They can't manufacture it themselves because they're not allowed to. You know, the patents are there to prevent them doing that. To me, it's a no-brainer. People have to travel. People are going to travel anyway. Look at the people in this country who unbelievably are still going on foreign holidays. I don't know why, considering how much of a ball ache it is. Although I've heard a lot of them, which doesn't surprise me because a lot of them I think are all I'm all right Jacks, have basically been ignoring the quarantine restrictions when they come back. Quelle surprise. But it's still a ball ache. You have to sign loads of different documents and provide lots of different evidence to go to and from holiday destinations. Why can't we just waiver these patents and just get the world vaccinated? It doesn't make any sense. We're still protecting big pharma, even though most of the funding, the research funding that came for vaccines came from the public sector. It came from us, the taxpayer. Fuck big pharma. They fucking take our money and then they say, oh, well, yeah, we're still squeezing every drop of profit out of the vaccines. No, you don't get to decide that. We get to decide.
They do, don't they? Because they are.
You see what I'm saying, though? The principle is they shouldn't. The whole system is rigged. And it's going to bite us in the arse again, Mike, because this is going to increase the risk of variants, potential vaccine-resistant variants, the longer that the rest of the world goes unvaccinated. So to answer your question, how do I feel about booster shots? Obviously, I'd rather have a booster shot than have my vaccine efficacy drop to levels where I could be at great risk if I contract COVID again. But I'm not an I'm all right Jack, so I prefer the rest of the world to kind of be vaccinated first and maybe make a bit of a sacrifice initially.
But are you not concerned about the fact they don't even? Where does the booster shot bullshit finish?
Well, I mean, that might be a concern for you, but I already take a flu vaccination every year. So it'll just be similar to that, won't it?
I don't. But
don't get me wrong, I'd rather
really?
not. The thing is, to me, Mike, it's just real life. I'd rather not have to take medication every year, but you do it because you can see the consequences if you're not doing it.
But what I mean is how necessary are we? How sure are we that all these booster shots are going to be necessary?
Well, again, we're doing what we've always done, aren't we? We're ignoring the government and we're listening to the scientists. What are the scientists saying? The current best scientific knowledge is that the vaccine efficacy drops after 6 months. Quite steeply. So, it's fair enough. We're cool. That'll take me for instance, that'll take me up to pretty much Christmas. But around about Christmas time, I could be very at risk from COVID again. So I'd rather take a booster shot than risk contracting COVID and having very little protection against it. But, ideally, I guess the problem is, Mike, I know what you're saying, and I know there's a lot of anti-vaxxers who will seize on that point and go, yeah, we're saying this. The point is, if you listen to scientists, it's because vaccines supposed to usually take decades to manufacture. We've had to manufacture a vaccine in about a year, which is unheard of to manufacture a vaccine that quickly. No wonder it's not ideal. And you might need boosters. I guess we're just hoping that maybe in the next 5 or 6 years, they could come up with something that is either it goes along with the flu shot and all at-risk people get it every year, or alternatively, they find one that's similar to, well, you'd hope eventually, maybe they get one that's similar to the smallpox vaccine and eliminates it completely. You get it once and then that's it. I don't know. I'm not a virologist or an epidemiologist.
Okay. Fair. That's fair.
Okay.
So what else are you saying?
And the only other thing, Mike, I really had was, have you seen that, you know, I know we like to mock them a lot, but the anti-vax community apparently has started to manufacture professional looking leaflets with almost like cartoons in them, trying to appeal to children. You know,
No.
kind of, you know, questioning everything around vaccines and things like this, but turning it into a professional looking leaflets. Is that of concern to you? Do you think they're likely to get any headway by doing that? How worried would you be about that?
I'm not too concerned.
No?
I'm not too concerned.
You think
Are
they're
you?
on a ride into nothing? Mildly. I think the thing is, if you're in a group that's organized enough and clearly has funding, that's the worrying thing, has enough funding to produce these professional looking leaflets. You do think, I guess maybe I'm not so much worried about whether people will believe their bullshit, but it's more like, you know, the kind of cunts that are funding this, like the fact that people with probably a lot of money are funding these things. It really does make you worry about the direction we're moving in quite rapidly.
No, fair comment. I mean, at this stage, I'm not too concerned.
Okay, I hope you're right. I hope it's not anything to worry about in the long term. Hopefully, it'll be like GB News, where some people were very concerned about it, and then it turned out to be a complete joke.
Yes.
Just out of interest, Mike, before we wrap up, how many?
Yeah.
What would you say? What percentage of people would you say that come in your establishments? What percentage would you say don't wear masks anymore? I'm intrigued.
I don't know. It's definitely the majority.
You think the majority don't wear masks anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's because where you work, but I was going to say the times that I've been in our local co-op, I found that it's probably only about 20%. Only about 20% of people not wearing masks. Vast majority are wearing masks.
No, I'd be interesting. I might do a little ring round and ask some other people and see what they.
I find it interesting. You know,
it will be a demographic thing as well, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is just me. Maybe I'm got very low opinion of people, but I walk into a shop and when I see people who aren't wearing, yeah, well, you know, we're both the same. But when I walk into a shop and I clock someone not wearing a mask, first thing I'll do is I'll look them up and down and think, are they likely to have a health condition? And if it's someone who looks perfectly fit and healthy, particularly if it's male, I'll look at them and I'll go, you're a dickhead. And I'll just judge everyone like that. I see people not wearing masks and I think, dickhead, dickhead, dickhead. And I look at the majority, though, that wear masks and I think, okay, maybe I'm feeling a little bit better about, how, you know, the kind of brain power of this country, that most of us realize that that's still something very, very simple that we could do to potentially not contract other people with the virus unknowingly. But there you go.
Interesting.
Okay, before we go then,
really?
yeah, before we go, if you've enjoyed any of our content tonight, please don't be shy in clicking the little like and the bell button so we can let you know when our next video is, or YouTube can let you know. Share us with a friend. You know, we're not getting a lot of views these days. I know there's not a lot going on in terms of lockdown at the moment, but we are going into winter, so me and Mike could be, you know, could be very crucial for your entertainment quotient during the period over autumn and winter. So show us some love. Send us some comments, messages if you disagree or want to send us abuse or whatever. Anything else, Mike?
I think you covered it perfectly.
Oh, good. So I'm sure we'll see you again soon when there's an update due. In the meantime, please do stay safe, people. And on that note, this has been Late Night Large, telling you that there's no such thing as a solicited dick pic.